Dr. Lindon is the first female president of Hazard Community and Technical College. She began her higher education journey as a student in 1988 at what was then Hazard Community College, and later earned an associate degree from HCTC. She credits the community college with assisting her in determining her career pathway. At HCTC, Dr. Lindon has served as a teaching faculty member, program coordinator, workforce solutions liaison, academic dean, and as the chief campus administrator on the HCTC technical campus. She also has private industry experience in healthcare, small business and management, and distribution and logistics. Would you please welcome Dr. Lindon.
Thank you. I guess it's okay to take my mask off so you guys can hear me.
And you'll just have to record it.
Okay. So just kind of. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about Hazard. I know we've been chatting about it, and there's some connections to Hazard, Kentucky here. So I'm really pleased to represent Hazard Community and Technical College. And if you don't know, Dr. Box was also a president at Hazard Community and Technical College. So we've got quite a history here in this room. And I believe you said you knew Dr. Hughes, who was one of the former presidents. But yes, Hazard, Kentucky, we are in Southeastern Kentucky. So we are in another area of Kentucky that has its equal charm and beauty, I would think, that rivals that of Central Kentucky. And if you have not had the chance to come to the mountains and visit in the fall in Eastern Kentucky, I encourage you to do so. We are known for the beauty of our mountains. We're also known for, yes, Dukes of Hazzard, and we are known for coal mining and moonshine also. So quite a rich history. But of course, being in a rural area, we have our challenges, and some of you may be from rural areas as well. We do have 7 counties. That's the primary counties that Hazard Community and Technical College serves in Eastern Kentucky, although we pull students from other counties as well. And we have 5 campuses. To tell you how rural we are, we have in our largest county that we serve 30,000 people. That's our population there in that county, and that's the largest county that we serve. So that kind of gives you a picture of where we are. Certainly we're having our struggles with the decline of the coal industry, and we do have, of course, the pandemic that we're trying to recover from as well. So to talk a little bit more about our challenges, I sort of mentioned poverty a little bit. We are in a very poverty-stricken area. We are in Central Appalachia, what I like to call the heart of Appalachia. At any given time, you can pull up national statistics and you will see one of the 7 counties that we serve in the top 50 as far as lowest per capita income rates in the nation. So we're talking about generational poverty. We have very poor health outcomes in our area. High cancer rates, high heart disease, high rates of diabetes. So we are struggling there as well. Some of that's because of poor diet. We're in a bit of a food desert, and that's another way that Tuesday Night Live, which we're going to talk about in a minute, addresses those poor health outcomes. Low educational attainment. That is something that we are really challenged with in our area, and something that I've kind of made it be my mission, being from Eastern Kentucky. If you can't tell from my accent, I am from Appalachia. I went to Hazard High School. I went to Hazard Community and Technical College. I was raised there. So I have a mission that I'm on, and I want to make sure that everyone in Eastern Kentucky who wants a higher education is able to obtain that higher education. So we're working to break down those obstacles and those barriers. But as far as educational attainment, less than 20% of the population in our area have a bachelor's degree or higher. Around 32% have a GED or high school diploma. We have some that don't have any education at all. This is kind of hard to see with the colors. Around 30% have an associate degree, and around 30%, which is even more alarming, have less than high school. So we have some challenges there. We have some work to do. And some of those rates have improved a little bit. but not dramatically. We looked at our population at HCTC, and we saw that we had a pretty solid number of non-traditional students. So that's 25 and up. We like to call them adult students, but I suppose technically if you're 18, you're an adult. But if you're like me and you have a child in that age range, you know that maybe not necessarily so. They like to think they are. But 25 and up, pretty solid number. 44% in 2016, 2017. We went from 42.8 in the fall to 44% in the spring. So we really wanted to know how could we increase that number, and better yet, how could we help those students succeed? Because we've already spoken about all the challenges, and we know in our area we're having a smaller number of high school graduates, lower population, out-migration. What can we do to really concentrate on those 25 and up and help those people who want to obtain that higher education be able to obtain it? We want to get them into the workforce. We've already spoken about barriers of our area. What are some other barriers of non-traditional students? I'm sure you've seen at your colleges. Transportation, absolutely. Childcare, yes.
Conflict with work.
Yes, conflict with work. All of those things. So we sat down, and this idea of Tuesday Night Live actually came from our faculty. We had an English faculty, a math faculty, and a science faculty who really began to talk about this concept. And I really want to stress that without that faculty buy-in, this concept won't work. This really started at the faculty level, so you have to have that faculty buy-in. But we were just talking about all the barriers and challenges that our students had, and we really wanted a way to address what we could as far as those barriers and eliminating them. So I already named it. What we came up with was Tuesday Night Live. This is one of our students. We got her to pose in kind of a yoga pose, and we're trying to balance home, life, career, training. We actually had that on a flyer, and we had a billboard at one time with her there, so she became quite famous. We have classes on Tuesday nights only, so students can get a full schedule in the fall or in the spring through Tuesday Night Live. Every class we do is a hybrid, so you spend only the Tuesday nights in class, and the rest of the time is online. 2 classes the first 8 weeks, 2 classes the second 8 weeks. I'm sure there's other ways you could do it, but this seems to be the way that works for us. So that takes care of the balancing work challenge. So you work, no problem. You only have to come on Tuesday nights. Child care an issue, that's no problem. You bring your children with you to campus, and we have volunteer faculty who work with them to help them either with their homework or they do other activities, STEAM-related activities. So we took care of that. Now the transportation was a bit of a challenge because we don't have public transportation in our area, so we're still working on that. We had a contract for some time with one of our local community action agencies. With COVID and everything, that's went away, but we hope to get that back, and we did have that somewhat available for a short time. So we're still working on the transportation. With the school-age children, again, it's school-age. We don't have a daycare per se on our campus, but we are going to be working in the future with our interdisciplinary early childhood department to really work on that. But just the fact that people could bring their school-age children to campus really helped so many of our students with that barrier. And then, you hear in Eastern Kentucky, we're all about food. So, oftentimes if female or male, you may be the primary person in that household who's responsible for getting everyone fed and getting that dinner cooked. So if you're worried about getting dinner cooked for your family in the evening and that's a problem, that's a barrier, we're going to take care of that too. So we provide a meal to the students and their children they bring on campus. So we really wanted to focus on a healthy meal, and we even gave them cooking tips and recipes. And it's been really interesting that that's been one thing that's been so embraced is the sit-down family-style meal. And we've had many people in our community many clubs and organizations want to get involved with that part, and they have actually donated meals, donated food for the meals, donated money to purchase the food. So that's been wonderful. And as part of that, in the meal, we will have guest speakers. So, Kiwanis Club may come, or Rotary Club may come, and they'll talk about being involved in the community and some of the things that they do. Or we'll have people from the college come and speak about financial aid, or just a variety of other topics. And that's been really a big hit. So kind of how it's laid out and how it works. You have your children who go with some of our faculty. Everyone meets in one central location at 6 o'clock. And the children go off on their way and they do their activities. The adults go to their first class 6 to 6:45. Then we have a break because we didn't want to wait much longer because we're getting hungry, right? So 6:45 you go to your dinner. 6:45 to 7:15 is dinner. You come back. You actually go back to that first class from about 7:15 to 7:45. Then you go to your second class 7:45 to 9. So it's really all a balancing act. And again, these are hybrid courses, and you have to make sure that you're getting all the competencies in and getting the hours in and the work in. It's really been interesting to see the relationship with the instructors who are on site with Tuesday Night Live and how they work together and how they balance things. And there have been occasions when we've had a class start a little earlier, maybe at 5 or 5:30 to get the time in that we needed. So some semesters it's been laid out a little differently. So we started several pathways with Tuesday Night Live. We thought at first we'd do Associate in Arts, Associate in Science, but then we had many of our technical programs want to get involved, like Human Services, Medical Information Technology, Criminal Justice. So we began to offer a multitude of classes. And as you can see, it's critical to have your faculty buy-in, and we also had 2 deans who really helped structure this. We really had to have them involved as well and have their buy-in. So, the first 8 weeks, you may do, let's do an English and let's do a CIT 105, because pretty much everybody needs those courses, right? So we'll do those. Then we can kind of branch out. Maybe the students know what pathway they want, maybe they don't. But if you want to do maybe a healthcare track, then they can do the Psych 110 and a math course that would be required. If they want another track, then there might be another class, a Human Services, a Business, a CAD, and then they may need another math as well. It might not be the same math as the healthcare, but they would need another math. So we began to add, at this point in time, we have about 40 different courses that are part of Tuesday Night Live. Yes?
Would you mind talking just quickly about what you're covering in the CIT 105? I see kind of a description, but I'm curious.
Yes, that's our digital literacy course.
Okay.
And I probably should have went over that a little bit more. So that's our computer information technology course where they get their basics of computer hardware and software, and then they do, their Microsoft Access, Word, Excel, and so forth. So we do have other courses that would count as a digital literacy course, but that is the one that's most commonly used. But we really have grown in what we're offering with Tuesday Night Live, and we're really proud of that. Now, I mentioned that every course is a hybrid course. It is, but some courses are totally online, and that's how we've been able to really expand in our Tuesday Night Live offerings. Excuse me, lose my voice. But if they are a totally online course, they still can come in on the Tuesday nights, and the instructors are there to provide assistance for the students and to provide tutoring. So that's been a really, really nice thing that we've been able to do, is have those online courses and have those instructors there available for the students. Now, we also do have tutors available with Tuesday Night Live, so we have tutors there on site. We also have extended hours with our student services, so financial aid is there, the business office is there, and we've seen a lot of students come in because they know we have those late night hours until 9 o'clock on Tuesdays. They'll come in and get their business done too, so maybe they're not a Tuesday Night Live student, but they'll still come in on Tuesdays because they know that we're there. One thing that was interesting that we saw was we would see students come in with their spouse. And a couple of instances we saw that the spouse maybe needed to work on their GED. So maybe the wife or the husband was going to college classes and the spouse was just kind of sitting there waiting on them because maybe they only got one car. Pretty common. So we began to offer adult education services. We're already the adult ed provider in our counties, most of our counties. So we just began to offer that service as well. And that seemed to be very well received. And I'll be glad to share this PowerPoint if anyone would like it.
It's included.
Is it in their packet? Okay, wonderful. So this is just some photos of the children's activities. They loved it. And I like the fact that we're changing the culture. We're getting the mindset of these children at an early age that they can go to college, that they can do college. These kids would say, I go to college with my mom on Tuesday nights, you know, and they had such pride in that. Again, I mentioned the family style meals. This was such a hit, and we just didn't realize that this would be the star of the whole event. You can see that we have it, you would go through a line and get your food. Again, it's all healthy, things they may not have tried, like broccoli. But we did have it set up to where it's family style. Now, COVID, no, we can't do that anymore. We've had boxed dinners, so they picked up their boxed dinner and they're spaced out. I can remember when we very first started and the weather was okay, we were eating outside. So it has kind of changed that dynamic, and I'll be glad when we're able to get back to this. And again, we had a lot of different guest speakers. We didn't always have a guest speaker, but quite often. I know there's been a couple times when it's been someone's birthday and we've celebrated that. So you become a family. I mentioned the support services, the tutors. Trying to see if there's anything that we've not mentioned here. The office hours. I think I've talked about all that. So outcomes. This is spring 18 data, and I'll give you an update on some additional data. Again, I mentioned that all of the T&L classes are hybrid, and what I want to point out here is that, well, this is our full-time students and our part-time students in T&L. So with the T&L format, I want you to look at the success rates. 78% passed all of their T&L classes. 67% of the part-time passed all of their T&L classes. So this model works. And it's all that kind of success coach modeling strategy type work, because really you did have those success coaches, maybe not in name, but you had a family, you had people that you knew that you could contact, and the faculty were so wonderful and played such a critical role in this. We had thought, to kind of explain this a little bit better, we had thought that we would have cohort groups that would step through Tuesday Night Live, but what we found, while we did have some students who took only Tuesday night classes, we had quite a few students who just chose to maybe take one in the Tuesday Night Live format. You know, maybe they weren't quite sure about it, and they thought, oh, no, let's try this out and see. So we didn't have everyone taking all Tuesday Night Live classes. We had quite a few who were taking just maybe one or two classes that were Tuesday Night Live. And we really didn't think that we would have as many different options as what we have grown into. We thought it would be all AA and AS, but really not. We've taken off with, like I said, the business, the human services, the criminal justice, some of the more online type programs that we have that we can also do the Tuesday Night Live format with. This one was kind of an anomaly. We had kind of a lower success rate. This is the percentage passing all their classes, and still pretty solid with that Tuesday Night Live support. This one we were trying to work with one of the local drug rehab centers. We had brought in some students the second 8 weeks, and I think it was just a little too much for them too quickly. They might have done better in a 16-week course, so, you know, you live and learn. But we're still working with them. We're not going to give up. Now, this is students who were taking an online T&L course. You know, I mentioned that some of them are online, and still, they did well. If they were full-time, taking at least one T&L online course, they passed 67% of their T&L courses, and 47% passed all their classes. And in this one, if they were part-time students in at least one T&L online course, 88% passed their T&L courses, and 75% passed all their courses. So we're pleased with where we're at with success rates of students. I did pull fall 2019 data because I wanted to pull pre-pandemic data. We all know the pandemic has caused a little bit of downturn in everything. So the fall 2019 data, we have grown. We have 115 students enrolled in some type of Tuesday night live course. Maybe it's only one, but they're taking either a hybrid course or an online course, but in some form of the Tuesday night live format. We have 115 students enrolled. 63 of those students are age 25 and over. So to me, that means that works. We're attracting the target market that we wanted to attract. And then we have the majority are female, and I think that's a trend overall in higher ed. And we are seeing, if you look at the success rates from fall 2019 in their Tuesday night live course or courses, 77% were successful. So I think that to me tells me it's still working. It's still working. Any questions so far? And I'll take questions at the end too.
Did you
Yes.
see an increase in your persistence rates term over term?
We have, definitely. We have seen the majority of our students who were in the Tuesday night classes persist from fall to spring and from fall to fall.
Thank you.
So those 115 students, are they doing that intentionally because it's Tuesday night live, you think? Or is it just because that class is offered on Tuesday night? Just trying to get a feel.
Good question, and I don't know that we have done any real in-depth surveys anecdotally and by conversation. It's been because it's been convenient for them to have in that Tuesday night live format and to have those options like the child care.
So pretty much if you're there on a Tuesday night, you're taking advantage of all of those additional services? Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
And there's not classes that are offered only in Tuesday night live. Right?
Correct,
I mean, they're
correct.
offered on a regular schedule and somewhere else on the schedule too.
Absolutely. So yes, it's CIT 105. You can get it in a multitude of other options. T&L is one of the options. Or if it's a CRJ, Criminal Justice 100, yeah, there's other options. You don't have to take it in this format. This is just one option. So we do feel, like I said, anecdotally by speaking with the students, that is the reason that they're doing this, because of the child care and the meal attracts some people too. And I think a lot of people really like this 8-week, and I've noticed a lot of colleges switching to that 8-week format, a lot of universities doing the 8-week format. Some higher ed institutions are doing a 4 or 5-week format, so I'm really seeing quite a bit of the condensed format. I think students like that. They like being able to concentrate on 1 or 2 classes at a time. I've heard many students comment about that.
Are you doing it year round?
We are. So we do it fall and spring. We don't do it in the summer, but fall and spring.
Yeah, as you heard Trachtenberg said, there's the year round for all of us is August through April, right? Or a little bit of May. That's year round,
This is true.
unfortunately.
Yeah.
That's kind of changed for our system because we're on 8 weeks for the entire year, so we've got those 5 entry points. And so summer's just another term.
That's great.
That's
That's
what we're
great.
trying to push right now.
Yes, I definitely want to explore some additional ways to accelerate what we're doing at HCTC.
That's what I want.
So a little bit on budget, we really started this on a shoestring budget, but we were very thankful that we were awarded $50,000 from a KCTCS Entrepreneurial Initiative grant that Dr. J. Fox started. And what it gave us the opportunity to do, and I really liked the concept, and I would say that even if he wasn't sitting here, it gave our colleges in our system, so we have 16 colleges in our Kentucky Community and Technical college system. It gave us the opportunity to think creatively and entrepreneurially. And we were able to submit proposals, and then the system would award seed money for us to begin those projects. So we were awarded $50,000 for this project. And there were other larger awards. I think we were like 4th place. And I appreciated it because those on the committee decided, we really like this project too. Let's award them a little bit of money. So took it and we ran with it. And it can be done on a shoestring budget. We didn't even use all of our money the first year. Again, we had already committed full-time faculty, and we made that part of their load, and so that helped tremendously. We also had faculty who volunteered for the children's activities, and so that helped also. So we were primarily paying the tutors, and we were primarily paying the folks who worked in the kitchen to help prepare the meals. So we did hire a professional person to do that because we wanted to be safe. So we did have a few faculty who were on overloads, but the majority we built it into their load. Of course, we had a few costs with promotion, supplies, some nicer furniture, some things like that. Travel, so we could learn a little bit more about various ways and various methodologies in which we might implement into the courses. So that's where we were. We've spent the money now at this point, now that we're in 2021, but that $50,000 did help. Point being, you can do it on a small budget. So I just wanted to share some of the comments from the students. Of course, we pride ourselves on having a caring institution. They help my kids learn usable life skills and academic learning, both in a fun, no pressure environment. My kids love coming to college, as they said. First person in their family, and we see that a lot. First person in their family to attend college. Really made it a fun atmosphere. And I remember this student in particular. She worked at McDonald's, the student that gave this comment. And we had these yard signs. And we were going to all the fast food places in town, and we were asking them to put the yard signs up about Tuesday Night Live. And McDonald's let us do that. And she's working there. She said, I kept seeing it, and I kept reading it, and I kept thinking, no, there's no way. There's got to be a catch. That can't be true. Got to be a catch. But she finally called, came in, had never been to college before, first one in her family. She had 2 kids. I think they were twins, and she ended up bringing them. And so she has just really been one of our success stories. So she has almost completed her degree now. I think she decided on human services. So we're really pleased with her, and we have a million more success stories just like that. But I really liked that she kept saying, hey, there's got to be a catch, but there wasn't. Am I doing okay on time, or am I going too fast? So, with any project, you have to look at how can you sustain it once your seed money is gone. Again, we have community partners that are very involved, all of our local civic clubs and organizations, and they still want to be involved. They've backed off a little bit due to COVID, but I feel sure that once we get ramped back up, they're going to be willing to donate time, money, and food for the meals. Again, I mentioned faculty volunteers, and we want to begin to have our IECE program begin to work with the children's activities, because we think that we can serve some smaller children that way. Existing faculty loads, making those classes and office hours part of those loads, and we have really done that, institutionalized that. Again, that's been key. And we are looking to additional funds and options for sustaining and expanding our tutoring. We're working with James Graham Brown Foundation, a private foundation in Kentucky. And so we're working closely with them to try to find some additional dollars for both in-person and online tutoring, because we all know that the online tutoring option is so important right now. So we're always looking for ways to sustain and grow Tuesday Night Live. We just had kind of a little menagerie of of what Tuesday Night Live is about. We have been very pleased with the success. We've been part of a recent Harvard study, and we were tickled that we were a part of that and able to participate in that. We've had many colleges come and visit us, and from all over the nation, and of course, our sister colleges have been very interested in what we are doing. So we hope that we can continue to grow and that we can continue to eliminate those barriers for our students. Any questions?
Before questions, let me try to explain the incentives that were given, the grants that were given. As we've talked throughout the conference about the importance of leadership to lead innovation and to lead entrepreneurism. As the system president, as I told you yesterday, I hired 15 new presidents, and Jennifer was one of them. I was very dedicated to, I've got to get you thinking entrepreneurial, and you need a little incentive to do it. And you can do this at your college level too. So what I agreed to do was to set $750,000 aside for entrepreneurial grants. And there were to be 3 a year. And the idea was it had to be something that was different. You weren't expanding something that you were already doing on your campus. It had to be totally different. It had to be something that could attract the older student, because we were looking at the horse. Remember the horse yesterday's conversation? It had to be something to focus on a group that you need to bring people in. It had to be eligible to be evaluated. We would assess it, and it had to show that it could continue on its own without any more system level budget. You had to find a way to find the money for it, or you ended it. But the intent was that you were to keep it going. And the fourth criteria, it had to be able to be replicated at other institutions. And you would share your ideas to the other institutions across the system and across the nation. The first year, there was a panel of the presidents who selected the winners. And there were quite a few in colleges that presented their entrepreneurial idea. There were such good ideas that the president said, we really want to give a 4th award, not just the 3. And it was originally designed to give $350,000 for first place, 300,000, 250, and 200,000. So 300, 250, 200. And because they found this 4th one, they broke up the 3rd place and gave $50,000 of it to Hazard. As it turned out, Hazard's was one of the most successful, and they had the least amount of money. But sometimes that happens. Sometimes you put a lot of money into something, and it doesn't work out as well. After that first year, the 16 presidents felt like this was such a good program. They came back to me and said, this is good, we want to continue it, but we feel like instead of a tiered effect, can we give $300,000 to each of 3 colleges? So that upped the budget from $750,000 to $900,000. So we had to pull some money together from other areas. But then you had 3 colleges getting $300,000 a year. And I think it's been quite successful on getting some entrepreneurial ideas. You heard Justin Page yesterday. His was funded that same way. So he determined his 8-week sessions by doing that. So that was one of the things he did.
And we actually were the recipient of one of the $300,000 awards the next time. So, and that established what we call success zones at our college, really working on that retention and expanding that beyond Tuesday nights. So we were able to hire 3 success coaches on 3 of our campuses who really work to eliminate non-academic barriers, because we know those 25 and up students, if they drop out of college most of the time, it's because of non-academic reasons. Life gets in the way. So these success coaches really connect the students to resources in the community. So they become experts on all resources available in the community. We have community resource fairs, and we've even been able to continue that throughout COVID because we've done it outside. And it's been really good. They call, they check on them, they email them. Some of our students weren't quite sure who they were at first, and they said, "Who is this person that's emailing me?" They say, "They're my success coach." Yes, they are. And we've really looked at students who are on any type of what we call SAP, Standards of Academic Progress. So if they're not meeting SAP and they're in trouble, they have to definitely be connected to a success coach. So we connect them to that success coach so they can work with them and make sure that they don't get into any issues again. So we have not ran any data in quite a while on success coaches, but we're getting ready to run our reports on that and prepare a report to show how successful we were with it. Now, pandemic, yes, it did cause a damper with it, but I think overall those students who had those success coaches have been much more successful throughout the pandemic. And I would love for each and every one of our students to have a success coach, but I've got to find a little bit more money to hire a few more. But that was our second entrepreneurial initiative, that proposal that we turned in. And so that one we were able to secure $300,000 for that. And we have certain areas where the students know that they can go to, and when they go to that success zone, we have community organizations that filter in and out of that success zone. So on Mondays, there might be a certain group there. On Tuesdays, you might know you can get your SNAP benefits signed up for there. So it's been good. It's been good. Any other questions?
Is there anything that's missing from it that you would like to add? Is there the next phase, or besides obviously growth in the program, is there a feature or anything that maybe popped up that people have asked for, that we just can't afford that? Or?
With the Tuesday Night Live?
Yeah, sorry.
I definitely would like to provide daycare, or I guess it's night care rather, but childcare for the smaller age. Still do the school age kids, still have the activities for the school age children, but have something for infants as well.
Is that where your early childhood care
yes,
our students would be able to assist?
Yes, and we've actually been looking at a couple of different grants to help us be able to fund such an endeavor. But I think that would be the thing that would help us the most to retain and attract additional students into Tuesday Night Live and at the college in general.
And since you don't have a child care center, you have your program, but you don't have a child care center, what she has to be concerned about, which is insurance and liability issues, and so that's why the red tape. So it would take additional money and additional hoops to set up a child care facility.
One thing we've been having our success coaches also help with is we pulled a list, it's a little bit off topic, but not really. We pulled a list from 2016 to present of students who were locked out of coming back to college, meaning that they owed some type of bill to HCTC. And it was astounding. There were almost 2,000 students who were locked out of coming back to college because they owed a bill. It could have been $40, $400, $4,000. It ranged. So we looked at what we could do and if we could find a pot of money to help those students. So we identified and set aside some dollars to help those students get back into college with what we call their Forge Your Way Forward program. And we began that. We really targeted those students. We called them, we emailed them, we sent them letters, and they didn't believe it was going to be true either. But we will remove their hold, enroll them in 2 classes because we want to make sure that they're successful. We don't want to overload them. We'll put them in 2 classes. We connect them with one of those success coaches in the success zones, and they walk with them hand in hand. We know community and technical college students need a little bit more guidance, need a little bit more hand-holding. So we connect them with those success coaches. If they're successful in their courses at the end of the term, then we pay off all of the debt that they owe, and they just go on. We help them apply for financial aid, and we work with them hand in hand to make sure that they're successful. So that has been something that's really helped their enrollment. We had 69 students who we were able to get back into college this fall due to the Boys Way Forward program.
So just the so we have that program too.
Okay, wonderful.
But I feel like, as we sometimes do, we over-engineered it a bit. So your only requirement for that was they come back, they take the classes, if they pass, you wipe 100% of their bill.
Yes.
See, ours is, our students have to pay something and then it's very,
That's not the way it was originally designed, but that's the way it ended up.
Yeah, right.
I'd be happy to send you all their parameters, but yes, one semester, they pass the classes, they meet with their success coach, at least 2 times during that semester, that has to be documented, and then it's relieved, yes.
yeah, I feel like ours doesn't get used
Exactly.
as
Yeah.
often because it seems too complicated.
Yeah.
You might be in a situation to get that changed.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes. Yeah.
I know what caused it and we need to change that.
Okay.
So I hope that you have heard from Jennifer about how entrepreneurial she is and how she has led her institution. After the first one, Tuesday Night Live, others said, well, gosh, we can do this or we can do that. And they started identifying new horses. How do we focus on this horse? And the latest horse was the people who had debt and were being blocked from coming back. And so they started brainstorming how they could do that and came up with this process and made it simple enough where they could communicate it to students and they would buy in. So I think that's really good. You know, this is a prime example of, first of all, getting the grants to help, which was that seed money was helping. But after that was reallocating your own funds to something that's important in your budget, at your college. So being able, as the president, to say, no, we're not going to fund this activity next year. We're going to shift that money to something that's going to lead to better student success. And I think that's something as president that you need to look at about what you can do with your budgeting process and get that coming from your faculty and your staff so that they buy into it. I mean, that you would have never been able to do that if you didn't have the buy-in from the faculty.
Yeah, that's great. Bluegrass Community and Technical College, they've taken this Tuesday Night Live idea, and they're based here in Lexington, Kentucky. And they are really focusing on their homeless population and being able to engage with them and get them back into school through a Tuesday Night Live type format. They're calling it something a little bit different, but I know that was their focus, so they took a new spin on this.
That's an urban college, Lexington, 15,000 students. So see, you can take the concept in a small college of 3,000 or 4,000, like Hazard, and exploded up. And they adjusted it for the homeless population, which, what a great thing to look at a different audience and say, hey, this is a group we're missing that really needs help. So, you know, it's been great.
Yeah.
Have you done anything with like Spanish speaking or other minority groups?
We have not. We have a low minority population, but our Hispanic population is growing. But I would bet that Bluegrass
Yeah,
is
Bluegrass and Louisville are.
Yes.
Louisville is doing some things there. Jefferson Community Technical.
they have quite a few more students.
Yes, they do.
Like Dr. Box mentioned, we serve on average 4,000 unduplicated annually.
We can reach out to Ty, as former everything guy, so.
Any other questions for Jennifer? Let's give her a big round of applause.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you.
Is there anything, any burning questions you've had throughout the conference that you've not had an opportunity to ask that you would like to ask? I don't have all the answers, but I got lots of experience. And so if there's anything that you would like to ask either publicly or individually, you've got my email address. You can send that to me at any time. I know, how many of you are going to Keeneland this afternoon? Oh, good, great. It will be an experience. It'll be a lot of fun, and we'll talk about that. For those of you who aren't and are going back, I wish you the best of luck. This is very, very challenging times in higher education, and being a leader of an institution during a pandemic is no fun. But I think Trachtenberg kind of hit it on the head when he said, we've always had challenging times. And that's why you're in a leadership position, because you're willing to take on challenges and look at them as opportunities. So I admire you, I appreciate you, and I wish you the best of luck.
Thank you.